It's 2 a.m. and your child is in your bed again. Look, if you're watching this explainer, chances are you are running on absolutely zero sleep. You're exhausted. So, welcome to the empathetic guide to parent-led change, achieving independent sleep. Parenting is just incredibly hard on a good day, and sleep deprivation, well, it makes everything feel 10 times harder. But I promise you, there is a clear path forward here, and we're going to walk through it together. Right now, maybe you're currently sleeping on their bedroom floor or, holding their hand through the crib bars, dodging a tiny foot to your ribs in the middle of the night. We have all been there. Today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step, parent-led fix that actually achieve independent sleep. And the absolute best news, this does not require a harsh cry-it-out method. This whole situation is incredibly common and honestly, more importantly, it is absolutely not your fault. You are just a loving parent trying to help your kid get some rest, but sometimes our very best intentions accidentally create habits that are just really, really hard to break. Section 1, the trap of accommodation. Okay, let's dive into this. To fix the 2 a.m. wake-ups, we really need to understand exactly why this cycle is happening night after night. When a kid can only fall asleep with a parent right there in the room, we often default to blaming the child's willpower, right? We think, oh, they're just being stubborn. But we actually need to look at a clinical concept called family accommodation. This comes from modern pediatric anxiety research. Accommodation refers to those incredibly helpful feeling things we do as parents, like lying down with them, giving them just one extra back rub, or letting them migrate to our bed. You say to yourself, it's just for tonight, we all just need to get some sleep, right? But every single just for tonight actually creates a learned loop. It quietly teaches your child that they literally cannot cope with the minor distress of falling asleep alone. The good news here, because this is a learned loop, it can absolutely be unlearned. So we need to shift our strategy. The absolutely crucial difference here is between an accommodation and a supportive response. Accommodations remove the challenge entirely, like pulling them into your bed just so they stop crying. A supportive response, on the other hand, acknowledges their feelings but fosters independence. A supportive response sounds like, I know you're feeling scared to sleep alone, but I am 100% confident that you are brave enough to do this. In this clinical model, which is known as SPACE treatment, that stands for Supportive Parenting for Anxious Childhood Emotions, you, the confident, coached parent, are the active ingredient. You're the one changing your behavior rather than trying to force your child to change theirs. Section 2, the evidence-based reassurance. Look, I know that asking you to change your nighttime routine and do hard things when you are already completely exhausted is a massive ask. But the clinical data backing this up is just incredible. 80%. A massive systematic review of 52 different studies looked at behavioral interventions for bedtime resistance and night wakings. And what did they find? They found that over 80% of children improved and, this is a key part, maintained those gains using exactly the types of behavioral interventions we're discussing in this explainer today. This isn't just guesswork. The data shows an overwhelming rate of success. And this brilliantly illustrates why it matters. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine, the AASM, actually rates these behavioral methods at the standard or guideline level. That is the exact same evidence tier used for actual rigorous medical treatments, so you can feel incredibly confident moving forward. This is a clinically endorsed pediatric gold standard, not just some passing parenting fad you stumbled across on a blog. Section 3, the parent-led sleep plan. Drawing directly from that SPACE treatment philosophy, our focus here is purely on what you, the parent, are going to do. Remember, we literally cannot force our children to instantly fall asleep, but we have total control over how we respond to them. Step 1 is setting the stage. You want a consistent, positive, and brief wind-down routine. Bath, books, lights down in the exact same order every single night. But here's the secret weapon, a fated bedtime. If your kid normally fights sleep for an hour, start the routine slightly later than usual to build up their natural sleep pressure. They're going to physically be more tired, which gives your brand new routine a much, much higher chance of early success. Section 4, fading your presence. Let's move to the next phase and see how this builds. Once that routine is set, we move to graduated independence. This is where you actively reduce your nighttime accommodation in small, planned, totally manageable steps. Think about it like a ladder. If you currently lie in the bed with your child until they fall asleep, you don't just suddenly shut the door and leave. Tomorrow night, you move to a chair right beside the bed. Just sit there. A few nights later, move the chair to the doorway, then out to the hallway. By By fading your physical presence slowly, you keep your child inside their window of tolerance, teaching them step by step that they are completely safe and perfectly capable of falling asleep without you physically touching them. So, what does all this mean for when they inevitably wake up at 2 a.m.? You handle night wakings the exact same way. If you were on the chair step, you go sit in the chair. You absolutely do not reaccommodate by climbing back into the bed for just one more snuggle. Another really well-established option mentioned in the literature is graduated extinction. This just means checking on them but waiting steadily longer intervals before you go back in. Whether you use the chair method, also known as camping out, or graduated extinction, the research is totally clear. Consistency matters far more than the specific technique. You just have to be consistent in not sliding backward into those old accommodations.
Section 5. The Extinction Burst.
Now, I've got to prepare you for an inevitable curveball here, just so you don't throw your hands up and give up right before the finish line. When you change the rules and stop accommodating, your child's protests will very likely get louder and, honestly, a lot more intense for a few nights before they fade. This behavioral phenomenon is called the extinction burst. It is completely normal and, believe it or not, it actually proves that the plan is working. Your kid is simply trying out the old methods, crying louder, stalling longer, just to see if they can get that old accommodation back. If you cave mid-burst, you accidentally teach them that escalating their behavior actually works. Stay strong, stay incredibly calm, and stick to your supportive responses. I promise this storm will pass.
Section 6. Rewarding independent sleep.
Once we make it through that burst, and you will, we really want to focus heavily on the positive. The goal here isn't just to stop a bad habit, it's to celebrate a brand new, really brave behavior. Non-material praise and simple rewards reinforce new independent behavior so much better than punishing a child for getting out of bed. Set up a morning reward chart. If they stay in their room or hit whatever milestone step you're currently working on, they get a sticker or maybe a special breakfast or some extra story time. You want them waking up feeling super proud and empowered by their own newfound independence. Now, a quick, important note here. While these behavioral methods are the absolute gold standard and highly effective for the vast majority of families, every single child is different. If your child's sleep problems are unusually severe, if they're deeply persistent despite your consistency, or if you suspect an underlying medical issue like sleep apnea, please consult your pediatrician. It is always, always best to have your medical team on board. To wrap this all up, I absolutely love framing this using the concept of a brave plan, much like you'd find in modern anxiety management tools like the Fear Me Not app. You and your child are a team. You're building a small sleep fear ladder together. You're tracking brave nights, and you're celebrating that progress as a family. You have the power to fix this, not by controlling your child, but by changing how you respond to them. So I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. How might your calm, confident boundaries tonight shape your child's deep sense of self-reliance for the rest of their life? You've got this. Thanks so much for watching this explainer, and hey, here's to a great night's sleep.